Pretty easy going, right? That's part of the sales process right off the rip, before we even get into the numbers, saying, oh, I see the majority of what you have are the little final expense policies. I always use the rule of 3 fingers. There's 3 different grades of life insurance that are out there. Jerry, the bottom one is what?
Graded.
What is graded? It's usually a 2-year waiting period. There's no medical questions, are very limited. Anybody can pretty much get it. The next one up is simple issue. Okay, this is what you pretty much have right now. Just a little burial policy, medication check, and you're good to go. This top one here is very hard to get. It's called fully underwritten life insurance. This is where they have medical records, paramed, blood, urine samples, but they're going to give you better rates for doing so. When you see a bunch of policies up here, the smaller ones, they're all in this category. If we can take all the policies you have here, condense it into one and get you into this category, which your health warrants, we can get you a lot different program and save you money or have different options there. That's how I start off in explaining what they have, because then you realize I only take a blood pressure medicine. Why should I have the same policy with someone that's had cancer 10 years ago or 5 years ago? So it's alleviating some of their stress of how can you do this? It's too good to be true. Because all the policies you have are mediocre health. You deserve the better health. Does everyone understand that? So going forward, universal life, there are different types like you'd mentioned. The one that we write the most of, the one that I typically only write, is guaranteed universal life. What are the 2 factors that are guaranteed in a guaranteed universal life?
So long as they make that payment, whatever the payment is on the illustration, as long as they make that every month, guaranteed it'll pay to 120.
There's different ways you can stretch it, so you don't always want to say that. But the 2 things that are guaranteed, the price that you pay and the death benefit that you have. Well, what are the 2 factors that people are always looking for when they buy life insurance and they're getting older? I don't care if it's whole life or not. Somebody explain to me about cash value and what it can do for us. Or we can sit here.
Well,
I want this to be interactive, but I want to just talk at you guys. I want to see how much you guys really know.
the policy builds cash value.
Somebody besides Randy. Shane, cash value in the life insurance policy, what good is it? What are my options?
In whole life, you can take a loan out on it.
Okay, Rodney, what's another option?
You can get it transferred over to a paid policy.
I like the way you think. We'll get more into that. Jeremy, I can borrow against it. I can 1035 out. What's another option I can do with the cash value?
I was going to say 1035 exchange, but...
Okay, you can borrow against it. Everyone knows that. You can borrow against it. You got to pay the loan back plus interest. You can 1035 to a new policy, which is usually what I end with.
Surrender it?
You can surrender it, right?
Yeah.
And if you surrender it, or is that borrowing against it? No, you're just cashing it out. Whenever I talk about that, if it is something that they want to look at doing, I always refer to my little girl's piggy bank, an old-fashioned porcelain piggy bank sitting there on the shelf, and that money stays inside of there. When somebody dies, Dan, what happens to that cash value?
Company keeps it.
What do you mean the company keeps it?
They pay out face value.
Okay, everybody knows that, like knee-jerk reaction. That's not a doubt in anybody's mind, right? Everyone knows that. So that's important. Now you're getting to the point of, well, why do you have the policies that you do? You're in this category. You're building cash value when you don't really need it, right? The guaranteed universal life policies that we're running, you see the cash values. Are they really rich in benefits when they hit 100 years old? No? So what are they doing?
What you said that the universal
You're right.
that we're running.
Guaranteed universal life, yep. We want death benefit and premium guaranteed.
They won't have a lot of cash value because guaranteed UL isn't designed to build cash value. It's designed so that the death benefit stays the same. So if they reach 100, they're going to have that death benefit without, they won't have this. Usually in the non-guaranteed ones, there's a big bubble of cash on the front end, but
Yep.
as they get older, past age 80 and up, that if they're paying a low premium, that cash starts subsidizing the deficit on their premium and it starts going down. That's why you have a crash in UL. So the ones that we sell here, it's situated so that that doesn't happen.
So when the cash value hits 0, what continues to happen? You're right, it's subsidizing the premium. Eventually your cash value gets whittled down, right? At some point, 92 years old, 88 years old, your cash value will hit zero, but those two guaranteed factors, the price that you pay and the death benefit, are guaranteed to whatever age you illustrate it to. 100, 121. Well, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want something for mediocre health. I don't want something that's going to build a ton of cash value, just like you said, for the insurance company to keep it. So why do you have these policies? That's the point I'm trying to get to with asking these little questions here, because now you're setting up the framework with running different numbers, okay? So we're called the insurance company. We're talking to MetLife. Somebody answer the phone for me.
Hello?
No, not you. Enough of you. Jenny, this is Matthew with MetLife.
Hello?
Make the phone call.
What I do is, I'm calling to, basically, I'm sitting here with Mr. and Mrs. such and such, and we want to get a little bit of information on their policy, and then I basically.
Okay, so what's your relationship to the?
I usually say I'm a friend,
Okay.
and they give them permission for me to speak, and then I ask the questions on basically what type of policy they have.
Well, before we get into that, that intro is important. It's a quick transition. I know it's a little nitpicky things, but I'm here with Mr. Harvey, get a couple of basic questions about his life insurance. I'm going to pass the phone over so he can give permission to speak with me. It's a professional thing. When you go in there and you're not sure, and be like, oh, you need to speak with him? Okay, hang on. Let him know ahead of time. Mr. Harvey, they're going to want permission to speak with you, make sure you're here, and then you take control of it. You're exactly
I
right.
always put it on speakerphone. too.
Yep.
Yes,
It's a great idea. That way, if there's any negativity, it's not coming from your face if they remember it. It's coming from the insurance company. So far, so good. We structured it in a way. We make a quick phone call to find out what's going on a little bit more. Lo and behold, we run into Mary. Mary's had Knights of Columbus, and this is a real situation I ran into. And this was a referral, and I explained what I do with life insurance. She's got 3 policies, all smaller ones. Whenever you run across Knights of Columbus, they're very expensive. It's a Catholic fraternal organization. Nice people, but their life insurance is very expensive. So we took a look at what she had. She has 3 policies. The top 2 are paid up. When you're thinking paid up and you're looking at these juicy death benefits, what does that mean? Did she take out a $7,200 policy? No? So what's happened over the years?
She's partially surrendered something, or she's. When I see odd amounts like that, that's usually they've taken something out of.
2 things. It could be a loan they borrowed against, or it could be what else? A bunch of cash value that's rich in those benefits, right? Because nobody ever, I want to get a $23,023 policy, okay? So she's had these 2 for a long time, so long they're paid up. This policy, she's still paying a small premium on, and it's $22 a month for 23 grand. If we don't know the behind the scenes here, we go to run across something else. Her cash value is 12 grand. She doesn't need this cash value, so without a universal life chassis, there's not much else we can do. You can't say, oh, well, I can get you a $24,000 Lafayette for $100 a month, and you can put that money in the bank. I don't want to go pay an extra $80 a month. Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll have to come back and let somebody else sell this for me in a couple of years with a different company. You got to know the options, and that's exactly what we're going to show you today. But it's important. So I'm going to show you guys first and foremost, I'm going to take a look at Mary. We're going to run a basic, we got the now, we're going to show you the will be, okay? This is just for example, this happens to be North American. They offer some of the best rates out there for us. Is that date of birth right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to walk through this together. This is North American software.
You're what? Female.
I didn't even touch anything yet, so
Okay.
we're going to go through the whole thing.
Sorry.
Before we get into this, to get this software, you log on to the North American website. And you go right under software downloads and you can download it. I did it 20 minutes before you guys showed up. So now we've got the actual software, and you just pull it up. We've got a lot of different options here. We're going to go with Universal Life, Custom Guarantee Gen 8. See the guarantee here? We're not looking for term. We're not looking for growth cash value. We're going to go with always put their birthday in. Why is this important? Gary Node, why is it important to put the birthday in instead of their age?
Because the rates change weekly.
That's Transamerica.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to universal life and these fully underwritten policies, why is it important for...
Well, it also gives you
Right, you're absolutely right. So you have to have the nearest age. This happens to be her last birthday anyway, so it's not a big factor here.
And they may not know their age.
This woman actually takes no medicine. No medicine, no major surgery, so I actually quoted her preferred and she got preferred plus, but I'm just going to show you preferred. Okay? The death benefit over here, I'm just going to knock it down to, we'll say 25,000. What is our 1035 exchange?
12, 640.
What is a 1035 exchange?
Lump sum of money coming out of an insurance policy out of a policy into another insurance policy.
Okay? And why is that important, Sean?
It's important to reduce the premium for their next insurance. Or
Why is the 1035 bracket around it so important from going from one policy? What if they just put it in the bank?
Well, yeah,
Taxes.
it has to.
What do you mean? I'd have to pay tax on that if I put that money in the bank? That's exactly right. That's the reason why I explained that, okay? So our 1035 is $12,640, $25,000 death benefit. We're going to do monthly EFT. That's just acknowledging. MEC is from a modified endowment contract. That's a little different thing. Not for today's conversation, but I'm actually going to change this a little bit because obviously we're going to blow the doors off of that. So I'm going to save some time. Just bump this to 40,000.
Why don't you go south?
Okay? Does everyone see this so far? Benefit options level, $40,000 death benefit, 1035 exchange, the money coming over. If somebody says, I've got money in a CD that I've designated for my life insurance, my burial. I've got $10,000 in a bank account. Well, if you wanted to, you could actually take some of that money and put it into life insurance instead. That will be a non-1035 exchange. I got cash in a CD that's going to be used for my burial. Well, why don't we take 10 grand and put it into life insurance to get 25,000 of life insurance instead? That's where you would do something like this. Okay? We're going to go over to withdraws, solve. And we can hit view.
Takes a while.
Where's the middle button? Okay. Okay, so everyone see this so far? I'm just using this for an example because this is just the one that she picked. I know I don't want to make this an all-day event, but I just want to show you what we're able to do for someone like this. She says, Matt, I'd like to get a little bit more life insurance. That's basically why I'm talking about this. I'd like to get a little bit more life insurance. I've had these policies for a long time. She's got $23,000 in life insurance. She's paying $22 a month for now, right? So we're going to 1035 this cash value over. We're going to have her continue to pay a monthly premium of $19.78, which is $3 cheaper than what she's doing now. And this is a $40,000 life insurance policy. It's an extra $17,000 with the stroke of a pen. Does everybody in here see exactly what I did from top to bottom with running this illustration? Are there any questions at all?
Go back to the client page one.
If you're just going to show me a different way to run the illustration with the same result.
No, I want to
Okay.
look at the bottom right-hand number.
Oh, Randy's trying to figure out our commission.
Yeah, that's important. Make
Okay.
$700 on that little deal.
This is important. So most of the time we're looking back and saying, okay, $19 a month times 12 months, that's, $240 times 70%. What do I make, like $100 on this thing? No. What they do is the commissionable target is that number in the bottom right corner, 991. This number here is what we multiply our commission rate by. That's important. We get paid up to target on these. So now you're actually making more like $700 as opposed to $100. So when you're talking about ACA and MAs coming up this season here, which is going to be huge, you're going to run across these type life insurance policies, and you have to be able to present it in a way. So many people say, well, why didn't anybody else talk to me about this? It sounds too good to be true. The 3 fingers is already setting up the close, so it's going to make it a lot easier. That's why I mention this the way that I do. Graded, simple, fully underwritten. You have all simple. No one ever tested your health before other than a medication check. You're building cash value when you really don't need cash value. Let's show how the actual illustration looks. Like I told you before, this is going to give you the guaranteed death benefit and premium and really maximize what we can do with this instead of building a bunch of cash value that you'll never use. Okay, this is part of the illustration here. First year, see her premiums right there, the second year, 3736, that's just 1978 times 12. Why is the first year such a large number? The 1035, right? Well, let's take a look at this cash value, and this is very important to make sure they understand this as well. This is not designed for cash value growth. If at some point they want to go and take all that money out and put it in the bank or go to Vegas, it's not going to be there. So you want to make sure you explain what this is designed for. It's not designed for that. So at 80 years old, cash value eventually hits 0. But what happens with everything else? This is guaranteed. You see this? Other universal lives, this would be assumed and have interest rates of 5, 6, 7%. Ours is guaranteed. The death benefit, $40,000 all the way through. It's going to continue on to the next page, but I want to show it to you here. So your payments are guaranteed, your death benefit's guaranteed, your cash value starts dropping down and eventually hits 0, but these are still guaranteed factors. And the next page, you see this? And eventually when you hit 90 or 100 years old, your payments stop, but your death benefit continues all the way on. Isn't that what you're looking for? To maximize your death benefit for the absolute best price? That's what we can do for them. Who can tell me what this underlying value is here? What is that 19,000? Is this a term? This looks like my Primerica policy that I had before where it jumps up in rate. Is that what my policy goes up to? What is this number?
How much money is valued in
That's the accumulated value of premiums paid up to that point, isn't it?
Does everyone understand that? That's all the money you've paid into this policy completely. For all those investment gurus who are looking at IRR, which is your internal rate of return, this is what people are looking at. Okay, so if I lived to be 95 or 98 years old, I would have paid $19,760 into this, and my family gets a $40,000 tax-free benefit. So it helps illustrate that for them.
How huge is
In the commission, right, Randy?
that? We're not enough for the commission, not much.
Okay. That was a very basic thing. So with her, the will be, and this is very important, whenever I'm in the house with somebody, you have to have a now and will be. Because if they're just doing conversational presentations, and then you just show them quotes, they may have forgotten what you talked about ahead of time. So now when you go to this side of the equation, and you say the will be, there's other options here that I would put down as well in case they wanted to get more life insurance. This is the will be, and this is with North American.
So you're writing all that out for them?
I don't put all this stuff, this is kind of like for training purposes, but I'll put down what their death benefit is and their payments, and then I'll put the total. I won't show them the cash value typically, but I'll explain that to them before I get to those numbers. I'm showing this for you guys just so you can see why we're doing what we're doing here. So if they passed away, half of their money is actually coming back to them anyways because it's their own cash value. We roll it into a new policy, we get a $40,000 death benefit, $19 a month. Susan is here, good. You could also back it down a little bit. A lot of people say, okay, well what if we do $35,000? Can we get a paid up policy? And you can do that option as well if you wanted to do it paid up. You guys want me to show you that? All right.
Yes.
You kind of have to work the numbers a little bit. There is a way, but the software's kind of goofy in here. Let's just show 30,000 just to give us an example. And whenever you want the numbers to change, just click in a different tab. So when you input some change in numbers like 30,000 as opposed to a $40,000 death benefit, switch over one of those tabs, otherwise it'll come back as the same quote. And it's kind of like refreshing the page when you do that. Many hours of mistakes and on the phone with North American to figure little things out. Darn it, we were so close. Mrs. Jones, you have to pay 14 cents a month. I'm sorry. This is the other factor, okay? When it comes to something this small, some people say life expectancy in the Gouin family, you're lucky to make it to 90. If I wanted to guarantee my policy not to 121 but to 95, I could make this paid up. You can guarantee it out to different factors if you're dealing with a large policy and you wanted to do that, as long as they are aware of it and they sign off on it. So in this instance, you can actually make this pretty much a paid up policy at $30,000. So now you're looking at the different things. Here's an extra $7,000 in death benefit. Save yourself, it's only $250 a year, but you're still really young. What if that goes for another 10 years? That's $2,500 in premiums that you don't have to spend. All right, neat stuff. I love universal life. Okay.
Is there a way to put in just that 1035 and let it spit out an actual?
Yeah, let me try it that way. It comes out kind of goofy sometimes. We go to solves.
And put that death benefit. There you go, yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. So this is to find the guaranteed death benefit for this. Put in the cash value in.
First view and we'll pull it up.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is the actual paid up amount to guarantee it to 120. That's how much paid up life insurance they could get.
That's up to 120, so you could even like
120.
reduce the age and still solve for that.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
This is a little weird, Matt. Pull it back up so you can see. On the commissional target, go ahead and show them how to change that. But on the commission target, because it stays at 0 on that, but doesn't paid up. But I'll show you.
Oh, does it? Hey, let me try this first. I'm going to
Okay,
show
no,
you
you
guys
can do
this.
it. It'll show
So
them
let's
that.
say somebody says, I don't care, 95 is as good as 121 to me. It's the same thing to me. Now you've got a $33,000 policy just from guaranteeing it from 121 to 95. Would you rather have an extra $4,000 for your beneficiary, or would you rather guarantee it to that number?
Now while you're there, push reports up there in the top. Very top.
Top right. Okay.
Just move this over and push OK. I'll just, you just push the one button down below.
What?
Right there, yeah. Now push OK. That'll pull your target. There you go. It'll, you can't see it.
Bottom.
Go down, yeah.
Commissionable target
Yep.
21.
It's not on the front page. For some reason when you do a paid up policy, it just shows zeros. I don't know why. That took me a long time to find it.
Okay.
Another man after my own.
You want to practice this stuff here, okay? If it's a really big policy, then that's fine. You come back with proposals, but it's very important while you're there and you're talking about Medicare or something else, and you can't do anything right then and there. Well, not Medicare. It's a bad example. ACA, okay? You make the transition where you can't help them with that. They make too much money. They want to think about it. You're doing this. Now you can actually present something. And what is our close? I show Mary this option here. What is my next thing that I say? Bill, what is your close when you're talking about life insurance, especially something like this? They've already got it and you're making it better.
Today is proposal day. We're gonna fill the application and see what happens.
Down on one knee with the ring. Randy's got a really corny line that I've learned the entire time. What is it, Randy?
Which one?
Today's not buy day, today is
yeah,
apply day.
Today's not decide day, today's apply day. Let's run it up the flagpole and see what happens.
Okay. My close to this is very similar to what they're saying. So when you're talking about this, what we're going to do is we're going to apply for this top category. I'll come back in 6 to 8 weeks. It'll be a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If it's a thumbs up, I can get you an extra $17,000 for a little bit less money. If it's a thumbs down, you got to keep doing what you're doing. I just need to see your driver's license. That's your close. And if you assume it all the way through like that, it's such a no-brainer for yourself, it helps alleviate it. But you have to structure it to begin with the 3 fingers, with talking about the types of life insurance out there. Because if not, and you just spit all these numbers out, they're going to say, I don't believe you. That doesn't make sense. This has to be term or accident or something else. So set up the sale, and it's going to make your close a lot easier when you assume it.
Also, if you don't have your computer with you that day, you can always call, and I'll give you an 800 number to call. Not the Emerald, not Team Emerald, but the North American. They have a new business team.
Do you have it with you?
It's in the other room. But you can call them, and they'll discuss it with you on the phone. They'll run examples for you right on the telephone, and the people are super to deal with, especially if they know you're with a client, and they couldn't be friendlier or nicer.
Okay, it's 1-866.
And
1-866-322. No, I'm sorry, not that one. That's the annuity line. Sorry. 606 2943. Let me know if that's the same number you have.
I've got 800-800-3656.
That's the main number.
Right?
That's the main number.
This is
Yeah.
this is what I have programmed. I have two numbers for North American: annuity and life insurance. That's the life insurance line that I call. And if you get there, just talk to marketing. Either number is going to get you the right place. It's going to be a different prompt. Okay. I'm going to show you guys one more. And this was actually a really fun one that's still pending right now. This is a woman that we met with that's 78 years old. Okay. She had old policies that for a long time they've actually switched names, and I know we've seen that a few times, right? So she just took out a policy 2006. She has two policies with Liberty. Nothing's wrong with Liberty. We actually offer Liberty Bankers Life, but there's nothing wrong with the company itself. $75,000. She pays $336 a month. And when I asked her, why do you have such a big policy? Because this isn't a really, super nice house or anything. She says, this is to make sure my house gets paid off if something happens to me. And it's just a basic whole life. She had another one with Liberty, and that's how she actually went back to Liberty, because she had a paid up one that her mom took out on her forever. She also took out a monumental policy about 10 years ago that she pays $32 a month for, and it's $6,000. So, again, the now and then the will be, I just put all the totals here. You have $83,000 in death benefit, and you're paying $368 a month. Lo and behold, she's got $22,268 of cash value there, right? All right, so somebody walk me through this. I'm going to kind of pick on people as we go around the room here, because I want you guys to kind of coach me through this. All right. What's that? No, not yet, not yet.
Really?
Lynn, explain to me the three fingers of life insurance.
Graded, simplified issue, and a UL.
Okay. So what is a UL and why is it better than the other two? Not you. Jay.
It's much more affordable, usually. Payments are lower for more coverage,
Why is that?
because it's not meant to build an actual cash value.
Good. It's actually like that for two reasons. It's not designed to build cash value, right?
Yeah.
What is the other factor? Why is this one so much cheaper for the same $25,000 than a Lafayette and
It's fully underwritten.
what does that mean?
Means that there's a little medical portion of it, blood test, that's a little bit more in depth about your medical background than you would normally have in a simplified issue.
These are baby steps, but these are and every single person in the room knows this stuff. But if you don't relay this to the client, she's going to look at you confused because she doesn't know what you're talking about. These are the basics, the annuities of 101 that Dave talks about of life insurance and how to set it up. Okay? So, the Guaranteed Universal Life has two factors that are most important to people, right? There's two guarantees. Rodney, what's the first one? What's guaranteed?
Guaranteed means it's going to pay out.
What are the two factors that are guaranteed on this policy?
That's the death benefit.
Death benefit, and Jeremy, what's the other one?
Premium.
Perfect. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So if you're looking for cash value, if you want that $22,000 to grow to $50,000 when you're 100 years old, then keep doing what you're doing. If you want to maximize your death benefit and save you money in the meantime, I'll show you some different options. Okay. So, does everything look pretty good so far? Universal Life, Custom Guarantee Gen 8. Doesn't really matter what their name is. I'm just going to change the birthday here. I'm actually just gonna change the birth year because it's not gonna matter.
36.
36. Now, this woman, keyboard is weird. This woman's 78 years old. Is she too old for life insurance? I think I'm too old for that, aren't I? I had an 81-year-old woman get approved preferred. Preferred. You knew this one. 81 years old, she comes back as preferred. How many 60-year-olds do we come back with that don't even get preferred or standard at all? It's not about your health, ma'am. It's about getting you into this category. And then compliment them again. You only take one medicine. You haven't had any heart attacks, strokes, cancers. No. This is the policy that you need to be looking at. Okay? Just going to quote this at standard for now. Okay? Just to show you guys an example here. If you guys ever come back with a policy that is rated, this just happened in one of the cases that we were working, and she came back as a table 2. If that ever happens to you, they say, hey, she didn't qualify for the standard, she got table 2, that's where you do it right here. The table rating, you just click on this, and then you hit run the illustration, and it just, the cost of insurance goes up by 50%. Not the premium in total, just the cost built into the premium. So this one's kind of fun. So her total death benefit's $83,000. So the first thing I'm going to show her is $100,000. Anybody know why it's important to jump to $100,000?
Banding.
Whoa, what does that mean?
Usually if you, instead of breaking the band, if it's say 0 to 100,000, and you break it or go less
On your
than
soft
that.
tab, you still have this for the elbow. You gotta take that soft tab off.
What's that big man?
Okay. Aha. Okay, more about banding. Let's talk about that.
If you go less than 100,000, sometimes it's more than if you went 80,000, it could be more than if you went to the full 100.
Company, you're exactly right. Companies, especially life insurance companies, they do what's called banding. So you can actually run a quote for a $90,000 UL, and then run a quote for a $100,000 UL, and that $100,000 can sometimes come back cheaper than the $90,000. So you really want to push a North American as one of those companies. So if it's right in the threshold, bump it to $100,000, and it's very negligible. If anything, it might actually save them money with death benefit. Okay. So for this instance here, we're going to put a $100,000 death benefit. Our cash value is how much?
$22,268.
Okay. And it's 1035, right?
Correct.
Okay, because non-1035 would be money coming out of the bank or whatever else.
They have to pay tax on it.
Got it. Okay. Payment mode is monthly EFT, guaranteed death benefit at age 100. This actually pushes it all the way to 121. Switch the tab over. This is just accepting it that it's not from a mech. You're gonna make your noise there, Randy? The woohoo?
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
You're only saving her $100 a month for $20,000 more insurance.
This is a 78-year-old female with the stroke of a pen. You can save her $1,200 a year and give her kids a check for an extra $17,000 compared to what she's doing right now. Her daughter actually called me from Atlanta, and she wants to be part of this process because she found more life insurance policies than mom's had for a very long time. Mom just retired at this age from nursing. So this is a really big concept, especially when you're talking with children. You set that sale up ahead of time and explain why these are possible. Okay? So this is our first option here. This one we actually can have a little bit more fun with here. So this is $100,000. What's the monthly premium? $263?
Yeah.
That's a great start. Whenever you're saving somebody in a fixed income $100 a month, $100 a month, and giving them more. Not to mention, I number these for a reason. If you pass away right now, your kids are going to have to go to 2 death claims to get all these, maybe even 3, depending on how Liberty works it. You've got 3 policies. Wouldn't it be easier to condense it all into one, get a check for $100 grand, and save the $100 a month? So this is one of our options. I'm actually going to make this option B. Option A, because this woman is on a fixed income, we actually talked about how her finances were and what things were going on with her month to month. She had a lot of credit card debt. So in her situation, if she's got a $10,000 credit card paying 28%, how is she going to ever pay that off? Paying as much as she can in per month, right? It's a great point. You've got cash value of $22,268. Now we can really start to work the numbers, and it's not just a plain and simple situation. So what if we don't need all of that money going into it? The cash value is $22,200. So we're going to back this out. We're going to show her a different option here. Let's take $10,000 right off the rip. Let's just do 10. This may not be as advantageous, but it works. What's that?
Go to 80,000 death benefit.
$12,000 worth of death benefit.
I know what you're talking about. Am I missing something?
Yeah.
12,268 is
Oh,
the,
yeah.
Matt, go to the death benefit of 80,000. What happens there?
No, I don't want to do that yet. I want to show them it's 100,000 because that's the band we're looking for. Okay? Is everyone following this? Gary, what's the only difference between this proposal and the one that I just did?
How much money you put in $1035 exchange?
Okay? Check this out.
Wow, how good is that?
This is like life changing almost for some people. Same 100,000. How much? 346. I'm gonna put a huge star here, and this huge star means $10,000 back to her. This is why universal life is so powerful. The cash value is sitting in there doing nothing for her. She's got cash value inside of this. She just retired now, so her income's going to get cut in half. She is 78 years old. She doesn't want to work anymore. She's a retired nurse. She just stopped working now. So if you could take that 100,000, get her more life insurance, still save her money compared to what she's doing now. I don't care if it was the same price. Happens to be $22 cheaper. Save $22 a month, give a check for an extra 17 grand to your kids, and you take 10 grand and pay off that credit card or go on a cruise or do whatever you want to do. And then when you're done talking, sometimes if you know these numbers ahead of time, say, Mr. McCurdy, if I gave you a $10,000 winning scratch ticket now, what would you do with it? Let him tell some stories. My roof's been leaking, I got credit card debt, I want to take my grandson's graduating, I'd love to go to California to watch him graduate from Berkeley or wherever else. That's in California, right?
On that 10 grand, they're gonna have to pay taxes.
You are such a wet blanket.
I know.
Yes, you're exactly right.
Is there a flat number? Is it or is it whatever the tax bracket they happen to be in?
It's a little bit of both. So what they're going to look at is how much money you've paid into that policy your entire life. So if you've had that policy for 28 years and you've been paying in all this premium, they're going to look at how much premium you've paid in versus how much cash value is there, and that difference is what you have to pay tax on. And you can actually withhold it from the money that they take out. You can withhold for taxes just like any other type investment or anything. But you will have to pay taxes on that. Same thing with a loan. We run across policies with loans all the time. If you're erasing a loan, that's a taxable event as well because you're taking cash value out without paying it back. Pretty powerful stuff, huh?
The 1035 money has nothing to do with the taxing situation. It's
No.
totally clarified.
Right. Yeah, that's just put aside. 22,000 is the amount of cash value. We took 10 grand out of it, gave the company 12, and she's just going to pay it that way if she wants to. Okay? We're going to look at one more option.
Are we able to, can the company let us know what that tax liability on that money is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we're calling it.
The existing company that it's with, they'll let you know what it is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. You guys see, once you actually open this up, I'm only changing a couple of numbers in there. This is very basic. It's not as intense as it looks, or as it seems.
You can always call that 800 number and say, hey, I'm running an illustration and I have a question, and they'll help you.
And they'll say, this must be Mr. Harvey.
Cause he's the only one that calls all the time.
Mr. Harvey, don't you have somebody that does UL training in your office? Okay, let's just change this around a little bit. We've got cash value going in. Let's see if we want to leave behind a little bit more. That's not worth it. You're going to create a different factor here. So if you have a $100,000 policy and you put $22,000 of cash in it, right? Everything above going up is just a straight increase in death benefit. Does everyone understand that? So if you increase it from 100,000 to 125, that's just straight, because you've already bought your equities in the policy. 22 grand is in there. Anything more is just straight liability on North American. So you're just paying for that increase in insurance. So whenever you go with higher death benefits, it's not going to be incremental. Meaning 100,000 in option B, 200,000 wouldn't be double that. Does everyone understand that? Because you're not putting any more cash value into it.
Look at your commission target.
Let's just change to 125, see if that does anything. You can make a lot of money in life insurance. I've had a couple of cases over 10,000 in commission with these type things.
You had that one that would have
Put an
paid.
extra zero there, Matt.
Yeah, it's getting tired, wearing down. Okay.
80,000 just to see.
Well, it's going to be more than the 150. The 150 was more. You say 80,000?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to do 85 just to make it. Wait for it. Wait for it. 249. See the difference there? That's comparing to option B. If I want to do 85,000, it's 249. It's not the same price, but it's pretty close because of banding there. So, not to keep boring you guys with this side to it, but I'm trying to show you what. Let's just do it. I know this is cool. Just to show you what Troy and I were talking about with banding, this is actually going to show you. This is a $95,000 policy, 5,000 less than what's up there now. It's $300 a month. Very important to push them to that. Why would you pay an extra $37 a month for 5,000 less in death benefit? Okay? Keep this in mind if you're replacing another carrier. Not all companies have the same band, so you may run across an old Transamerica policy that was taken out 2 years ago. It's running 85,000. You might be able to write them 100,000 and actually save them money. Cool. How do you guys feel about this? Was this a little enlightening? I'm trying to show you guys to be as creative as possible in the house. When you run into a Care Improvement Plus in the house and you find out somehow that you missed the SEP and they actually just qualify LAS, it's a good feeling, right? Oh man, we gotta wait till October 15th, we'll give you a phone. Wait a second, you just got this letter in the mail for LAS? We can do this today, it's a good feeling, right? You gotta be creative with these things because it's not a one size fits all. I don't care anything about death benefit, my kids are fine. Well, what if I can get you a check back for 10 grand? I don't care about how much money I can afford my payments. What if we can leave more money left behind to your kids? There's all different ways. The 3 ways to solve: more death benefit, less money out of your pocket, or potential cash out, which always helps.
When you use the 3-finger explanation to them,
Yeah.
do they ever say to you, no, I paid so much money into this company, I'm going to stay with them?
Yeah. That happened one time to me. But it was one of those ones where, I got to pray on it. The Lord told me to keep it where it's at. So I just respect their wishes. I tell Jerry this all the time. I said, there's enough people out there that we can help where it's not worth, beating someone over the head with it. If they don't want to do it, then don't do it. It's my job to show you your options. If you get diagnosed with cancer, you don't want to go through treatment, then don't go through treatment.
What are the bands for the North American are exactly, do you know?
I think I'm not sure 100%.
Just
I think it's
25,
100,000 then 250. I think that's how it is. I'm not sure. They probably have some kind of guide online. So.
You'll find it on the underwriting guide.
Okay. Somebody has a paid up policy, the dividends are paying for it. Okay? I want to hear, so this is an objection you might find out, especially with ones like this. I hear what you're talking about, that's all fine and dandy. I don't want any more life insurance and I'm not paying anything for it. Okay, so no, this is a good point. The dividends are paying their premium and they don't care about their death benefit. Try to find the SEP in this situation. I don't care about how much life insurance I have, and the dividends are paying a premium. So you can't save me money because the dividends are paying for it.
How about if you can get those dividends to come in your pocket instead?
No. Sorry.
I said something, I was saying something.
You said something different though.
I said money in their pocket.
What does that mean? What is that third option? I'm saying this because I just ran across this with a family member of mine. Mass Mutual, dividends are paying for it, $100,000 policy, I'm not even paying a premium for it. Okay, well what if I can get you a $100,000 paid up policy for $10,000 less in cash value? Now that option C, I didn't write it there, but now that option C could be a reality to you. Everybody wants cash. If you can get a paid up policy, the dividends are paying for, right Mr. Gary? So you've got 100,000, you've got 26,000 in cash value. What if I can take 20 grand, get you the same paid up, and then give you 6 grand to take your wife on vacation? That's what you have to be able to do in the house, because if not, someone else will. You know, some guy mentioned this to me before, but I really didn't want to do anything. Well, would you not want to take your wife to Cancun or do something, you know?
Do you use specific numbers like that when you're talking, or do you say, more to the effect of, what if we could take a portion of that and give you whatever's left over, rather than using 20,000 and 6,000 or something like that? Because
It all depends.
I hold you to it. Hey, you said you could give me $6,000, and if it's
So if it's more than 6 grand, do I keep the difference?
yeah.
No, but you can have, obviously everyone's different. You know, you can use it for an example, but I like using that example because that's a real-time thing. As you're more and more in this business, you're going to run across your own situation and say, this is what I did for a client in the past. Everyone in this room has probably seen my now and will be's that I've shown to people. Partial cash out. Erasing loans is another big one. Same exact concepts apply, but there are cancers on these policies. The only difference with that is I would add on the now column how much the interest is on that loan. Because now that's built into their payment, but the same rules apply.
Or in that case, a lot of times when you got a lot of cash like that, and they don't care, or I've actually taken the money out and doing an annuity, and then have that annuity, start providing some stream of cash to say, hey, because a lot of these people, if they've had it for a long time, like, I don't care about the death benefit. I don't care, it's paying itself. Then I say, okay, well, hey, you've got $40,000 or $20,000, whatever it is in cash value here. Let's take some of this out, set up an annuity. You leave that, it continues to grow for you. You're going to make money. It's going to turn around and pay you a stream of income over the next so many years of your life.
$10,000, whatever's left over, that's up to them. That's their money. They can do whatever they want to do with it. Yep, same concept.
I almost would say if they say I don't care about the death benefit, well then why do you
Just
have
call 'em a liar.
policy? But, yeah, well, almost at that point, yeah. Why do you have the life insurance policy in the first place? And if that doesn't matter to you, then let's cancel that out and let's put that money somewhere else where it'll grow for you. I mean, because you're right, because they typically are lying if they're going to say something like that.
Everyone's seen a bucket presentation. You saw me do a basic version of one before. That kind of helps set this up a little bit if you can ahead of time. One thing you want to be careful of, okay? And I'm sure everyone that's been here for a year has heard this before. My policy is paid up. Why is your policy paid up? Because you don't make a payment on it? That happens.
Oh.
What are you going to be careful of with that? Just because they say my policy, well, what makes you say that? Because the dividends pay for it? Well, what if there was ever a time in the last 20, when's the last time you've made a payment? It's been 17 years. Well, what if there was ever a time where that dividend is changing each year and MetLife releases a dividend, it's not enough to cover your premium. Your premium is $800 a year, your dividend is $640. there's a little tiny discrepancy there, and you don't decide to pay, it comes off your cash value. What does that trigger? What does that make? Little tiny cancer spot in that policy, right? And then that thing spreads 17 years later. You never borrowed $3,000 off your policy, but that's the loan that it's grown to 20 years later of compounding interest or whatever else. So make sure if they say you've got a paid up policy and the dividends are paying for it, make sure, again, just kind of find out why it's paid up or what's going on with it. Especially if it's universal life.
And don't take their word for it, call the company.
Randy, tell your example. You were just telling me earlier, the $1 million policy.
I made a call, I just got the policy in today, as a matter of fact. I made a call to this lovely couple down in Bluffton from the survey. And sitting there talking with her, and she says, yeah, I have $1 million life insurance policy. Oh, that's great. How much are you paying for that? $60 a month. I go through everything and find out that she has a $20,000 group policy from her husband's job at GE. The $1 million that she thought she had was actually from her Blue Cross Blue Shield. That was the max they would pay per year. And she was paying $80 a month for her group policy of $20,000 death benefit. And I got her for the same $30 a month, $30,000 death benefit. And it was as easy as cake.
I don't know how many meetings Norman said the same exact thing about calling up these companies and talking about what they have versus what they thought they had. We have to be able to do that on a regular basis. MA, our team meeting this morning was all about MA and ACA training and coming up here. We have to talk about this stuff and find these things out there because they're out there all the time. You know how many agents I go behind from other companies, our competition, that have just been there within a year or two? And they're the ones writing the monumental policy, policy 3 there. See that on Louise? That was just written a few years ago. Wasn't anybody in our group. Why would that guy, why are they writing you more insurance? Why do they just keep stacking it on? I'm not here to sell you more insurance. I'm here to take what you have and consolidate it. So don't be the guy writing the number 3. Be the guy who condensed it all into one and actually helps them. Any other questions at all? I'm going to talk about the follow-up real quick. The close is what? What is the really tough close that we use, that I personally use? I said it earlier. What is it?
5 and 6 to 8 weeks with thumbs up or thumbs down.
I just need to see your driver's license. Who do you want your beneficiaries to be is actually a better question to start with. Mr. Harvey, who do you want your beneficiaries to be? Do you want that to be your son in Florida, the cop? Okay, great. Oh, you don't want him to get anything, you just want it to be, okay, write it down. You're writing that information down, you're going down that, even if it's on a fact book, I don't even pull it on an app yet, just so you have those notes there. How do you spell his name? If they're spelling their kid's last name or their first name to you, that's them saying yes. So you don't have to say, you want to go ahead and sign up today? You don't have to do that. It's a lot easier than what we make it out to be.
Fill out an application. I've got one in the car. I'll be right back.
I just need to see your driver's license. Whatever else it is, I'm going to grab a form. I'll be right back and do that. When you come back, you're going to call Portamedic or Hooper Homes or Exam 1 to schedule the exam for those. Then you submit it to John, and we just follow on the pending requirements. Let them realistic expectations. It'd be 6 to 8 weeks on an approval. We need 2 things: medical records and paramed, right? Blood and urine samples to be completed in the meantime. I need to talk to my kids. That's fantastic. You get 2 months to talk to your kids. I'll be back there with a decision in the meantime. Okay? How are we doing on time? Wow, look at that. 3 o'clock. That's good. All set?
Are you voided check at that time as well?
Yeah, good point. We don't need any actual premium. We just need a voided check. That's all we need. And I usually wait for that, and when we actually get to the bank draft form, that way it's not too intrusive. You already go through the application, ask them all about their health history, get medications probably, and then you say, who do you bank with? I need a void check. Don't sign it, just write void across it. They'll use that to process it after. Who loves universal life? I'm just kidding. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Especially when it's bad, I can